What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Eternal Wrestling Podcast. My name's Jacob, and if you're listening to this right now, I just want to say thank you for giving me the time of day, whether you stumbled upon this podcast by accident, or you're just looking for more pro wrestling content to feed your hunger. And this podcast is something that I've been thinking about doing for quite some time now, because I'm sure, like most of you listening, or just checking in, you're a fan, or you've grown up with pro wrestling. And this is something that I've grown up with, care about. I enjoy multiple products throughout the week and premium live events or pay-per-views. And I just feel like I could add something to the conversation, so to speak. So, with this podcast, I just want to give you honest, passionate feedback from my point of view on some of the current wrestling products today, such as WWE and AEW. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and maybe even controversial booking decisions or just news in general as the year goes on. See what 2026 has to offer. So speaking of weekly show reviews, I'm going to be diving into the WWE product and AEW. So you can expect Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown reviews, AEW Dynamite, and Collision. So we'll talk about storyline, match quality, how are characters developing over the course of not only shows but the year, and are just the booking decisions wonky? Does it even make sense? And if it feels pointless or dragged out, we're just going to be honest about it here. So like I said, we'll be diving into some pay-per-views and premium live events as they air or the day afterwards. So with that being said, I'll break it down. We can talk about it match by match. Thoughts. What was the flow of the pay-per-view? Did it even seem worthy of really the entire runtime? And we'll just really dive into some real discussion. Something that I like to do as well are retro reviews, such as like older pay-per-views, ECW content, WCW and NWO shows and pay-per-views. But some of that may be up in the air since the library is off of Peacock, and a lot of us are waiting to even see where that lands going forward, unfortunately. Because I myself have enjoyed diving into WCW and older ECW since I did not grow up with some of that older content, or even just looking back at stars from the 80s like Macho Man and Ultimate Warrior and seeing like their rise to fame and etc. And another big idea that I have for this is a fantasy fed or creative booking, such as booking feuds, dream matches, or even just like starting my own fictional promotion, doing weekly shows and then monthly pay-per-views, combining current wrestlers with wrestlers of the past, and just making original content and storylines. Something else that I think would be interesting is looking into some pro wrestling documentaries and reviewing them or just talking about them. We could look into some Dark Side of the Ring episodes. I know that Raven, he has a documentary that came out in November, and I also see on Tubi there's a bunch of wrestling documentaries from Vampiro wrestlers as well. So if you listen this far, this is what you can expect from this podcast going forward. There's not going to be any fake or forced agendas here. We're going to be passionate, fair, and respective to not only the performers, but the promotions that we review. It's totally fair to not like what you see week in and week out, but that doesn't mean you gotta tear down different promotions and bash on everything that there is. So, if you love wrestling, if you've ever argued over different storylines or why someone's not getting a push, if you've ever stayed up waiting for a main event, or just excited about WrestleMania, this podcast is for you. Welcome to the Eternal Wrestling Podcast, and I hope you join me on this journey as we continue to go forward and see what 2026 has to offer for the pro wrestling landscape. Thank you, and I hope you had a wonderful happy holidays with your family.